All right, so you know how it is, right? You want to really get to the bottom of things, like get a handle on the big ideas without drowning and, all the extra stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's kind of our whole deal here on the deep dive, and today we're diving head first into Shakespeare's Julius Caesar.
Ooh, nice.
But here's the twist. We're not going to be poring over, dry old textbooks or anything like that. Instead, we're going to be listening in on this really fascinating conversation between a grad student, Axay, and his professor, Dr. Jasvant Rathod.
What's so cool about their back and forth is how they break down the play piece by piece, like scene by scene.
Yeah.
It's a super smart, but still really engaging way to understand why this play is still so powerful, even after all these centuries.
Exactly. It's like we're getting this awesome graduate seminar all boiled down into this lively chat. And our mission today is to pull out the most important insights for you guys, the key turning points, the motivations behind these legendary characters, and the ripple effects of their
Yeah,
choices.
for sure. The choices they make, man, they change everything.
Exactly. So think of this deep dive as your express lane to grasping the essence of Julius Caesar. All right. So let's set the scene. It's Rome, 44 BC Caesar. This military badass has just rolled back into town victorious after taking down Pompeii.
The city must have been buzzing.
Oh, absolutely electric. But here's the thing. As we see right away in Act 1, underneath all that celebration, there's this current of, resentment and fear. The seeds of this really violent conspiracy are already being sown. Okay, so let's unpack this Act 1 seeds of conspiracy. What jumps out at you in these opening scenes?
Right off the bat, Shakespeare throws us into this world of conflict with these guys, the tribunes, Flavius and Marollus. And they're not exactly throwing a parade for Caesar.
No, they are not.
They're actually chewing out the commoners for their, flip-flopping loyalties. Cheering Caesar now after just recently celebrating Pompeii, it's like Flavius's question cuts right to the heart of it. Why are they rejoicing over the defeat of a Roman citizen, not some foreign enemy? It really shows how uneasy some people are about Caesar's growing power and all the civil strife it represents.
Oh, totally. And when Marullus accuses them of forgetting all about Pompey's contributions, it really highlights how divided Roman society is at this point.
It's a powder keg just waiting to explode.
It really is. It's like a commentary on how fickle public opinion can be, isn't it? And it's not
Mhm.
just talk, they actually do something about it. Flavius is all, hey, everybody, let's rip down any decorations we put up for Caesar. This act of defiance, even though it seems small, speaks volumes about the opposition that's already bubbling under the surface.
It's a visual slap in the face to Caesar. It's like they're saying, hey, your authority isn't a given.
Oh, yeah. They're straight up challenging him. Now, we shift gears to the Lupercal Festival, which should be this big happy party. But bam! It's here we get that super creepy prophecy, beware the Ides of March. And Caesar's reaction, he basically brushes it off. Like, whatever, dude.
Classic Caesar.
Right. Total dramatic irony, though, right? We, the audience, are like, oh, Caesar, you might want to pay attention to that.
Yeah, big time. We're in on this secret that Caesar's completely clueless about, which just cranks up the tension. And it's like we were talking about before, dramatic irony is when the audience knows something the characters don't.
Yeah.
Like, we know Caesar's got to watch out for that Ides of March.
Exactly. And then in the middle of all this festivity, there's this little detail about Antony running a race and Caesar telling him to touch his wife Calpurnia to try and, help her get pregnant.
Ah, yeah, to cure her barrenness.
Right. It seems like a small thing, but it hints at how Caesar's ambition goes way beyond just military and political power. He wants a dynasty, a lasting legacy. But for me, the real heart of Act 1 is that intense conversation between Cassius and Brutus. What makes that exchange so pivotal?
This is where Cassius comes in. He's like a master chess player maneuvering all the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
He sees that Brutus is all torn up inside, worried about Caesar's growing influence.
Yeah.
And he plays it so smooth. He doesn't attack Caesar directly. Instead, he pumps up Brutus, telling him he's just as worthy of respect and leadership.
He's a master manipulator, isn't he?
Oh yeah, big time. He's all about Roman liberty and the dangers of one man having too much power. He knows these ideas will hit Brutus right where it counts, and he's super clever about it. He uses that story about Caesar having a seizure, showing his weakness to make him seem less godlike, more human.
You see, Cassius is saying he's just a regular guy, vulnerable like anyone else. It's a tactic, man, designed to chip away at Brutus's almost religious devotion to Caesar. And we see Brutus really struggling with this. His love for Caesar going head to head with his loyalty to the Roman Republic.
Exactly. He's trapped between his personal feelings and his political beliefs, and Cassius sees that and uses it to his advantage. Then we get his soliloquy where he spills the beans about his plan to fake letters from worried citizens. It shows just how cunning he is and how well he understands Brutus. He knows the best way to win Brutus over is to appeal to his sense of duty to the people.
Right. He's playing on Brutus's honor and integrity. Now, here's the thing. Even while all this plotting is going down, Caesar himself shows that he's no fool when it comes to reading people. He makes that sharp observation about Cassius. He's got that lean and hungry look.
Dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. Caesar might be powerful, but he's not blind to the threats around him. Even if he underestimates how serious they are, and then boom, we get that crazy stormy night, all those freaky omens. Casca describes lions running wild ghost fires raining down. What do you make of all that?
Shakespeare throws in those wild supernatural events, not just for the drama, but also to show us how important omens were back then, and how people could twist them to fit their own agendas, like Cassius does.
It definitely creates this sense of dread, like the world itself is mirroring the chaos that's about to break loose. But like you said, Cassius spins those omens to his advantage. He's all, this isn't divine punishment. This is a sign that Caesar is messing up the natural order.
Right, like even the gods are against him.
Exactly. And Casca, who starts out scared by all this, starts to buy into Cassius's interpretation, especially with all those rumors flying around about Caesar maybe becoming king.
Yeah, that doesn't help Caesar's case.
Not at all. So by the end of Act 1, Cassius has successfully roped Casca into the conspiracy, and he's pretty confident that Brutus will be next, thanks to those fake letters. He's definitely the mastermind behind all of this. But it's clear that Brutus's reputation, his whole honorable man thing, is what will make their plans seem legit.
Yeah, without Brutus, they're just a bunch of thugs. With him, they've got a cause.
Okay, so Act 1 lays the groundwork that conspiracy starts to take shape. Let's move on to Act 2. The plot thickens and warnings emerge. What are the big developments here?
Act 2 really dives into the characters' heads, especially Brutus. We see them wrestling with their choices, and the warnings start piling up for Caesar, but he just ignores them.
Typical Caesar.
Totally. We start with Brutus pacing around in his orchard, struggling with his huge decision to betray Caesar. Those forged letters have done their job, convincing him that Caesar's got to go to save the Republic. And what's so important here is that Brutus isn't driven by jealousy or greed or anything like that. He truly believes he's doing this for the good of Rome.
Yeah, he's agonizing over it. His love for Caesar is battling it out with his ideals. Then the conspirators show up all cloak and dagger in the dead of night. What goes down in that secret meeting?
Well, Cassius, being the practical one, wants to just cut to the chase, kill Caesar at the Capitol the next day, done. But Brutus steps up as the leader and makes a decision that changes everything. He says they shouldn't kill Antony.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he thinks killing Antony would make them look like bloodthirsty butchers. And he figures Antony's harmless without Caesar. But Cassius isn't so sure. He sees the danger in letting Antony live.
Yeah, that's going to come back to bite them.
Big time. But Brutus has this moral authority that wins them over. He also decides that if Caesar's having second thoughts about going to the Senate, because of Calpurnia's warnings or whatever, Decius will smooth talk him into it.
Talk about foreshadowing.
Right. So much for honorable men.
And then there's Portia, Brutus's wife. What do we learn about her in Act 2?
Portia is a total force in this act. She knows something's up with Brutus, all secretive and troubled. And to prove how strong and trustworthy she is, she does something pretty intense. She stabs herself in the leg.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like she's saying, look, I can handle pain. I can handle your secrets too. And Brutus finally caves. He sees how much she cares and promises to tell her what's going on. It's a really powerful moment. It shows how all this political stuff is taking a toll on everyone, not just the players themselves. It's like the whole city's holding its breath.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, over at Caesar's place, the mood is super heavy.
Oh, yeah, that dream. Right. Calpurnia has this nightmare about Caesar's statue bleeding and Romans bathing in the blood. It's a straight-up premonition of the assassination. She begs him to stay home.
And he almost does.
He does for a minute. He's shaken by her fear and all the crazy omens. But then Decius shows up.
And he's smooth.
So smooth. He basically tells Caesar that the Senate's about to crown him king and that if he chickens out, they'll all laugh at him.
Appealing to Caesar's vanity.
Totally. Playing him like a fiddle. He even twists Calpurnia's dream, saying it means Rome will be revitalized by Caesar's rule. And that's all it takes. Caesar's pride and ambition win out. He's going to the Senate.
Talk about sealing your own fate.
Right. And it's not like there weren't other warnings. Artemidorus tries to give Caesar a letter naming the conspirators, but Caesar just blows him off. And the soothsayer keeps trying to warn him, but Caesar's all, the Ides of March are here, so what?
Ignorance is bliss, right? Until it's not.
So Act 2 ends with everyone on edge. Secrets, missed opportunities, a sense of impending doom. It's all building to the climax in Act 3.
All right, the tension is killing me. Let's get to Act 3, the assassination, and its immediate aftermath. This is where everything goes down.
It all starts at the Capitol. Caesar shows up, And in one of the most ironic moments ever, he brushes off Artemidorus' letter. He's all, "What concerns me personally can wait."
Famous last words.
Right. He puts matters of state ahead of his own safety, walking right into the lion's den. And then there's that chilling exchange with the soothsayer. Caesar's all, "The Ides of March have come." And the soothsayer just replies, "Yeah, but not gone."
Soupy.
Total chills. And then the conspirators get their act together. They go up to Caesar with this fake petition, asking him to pardon Metellus Cimber's brother.
Buttering him up.
But Caesar's not budging. He's all, "I'm as constant as the North Star." He's inflexible, unwilling to bend. And that's what gives the conspirators their excuse. They attack.
And it's brutal.
It's a whirlwind. Casca strikes first, then the others pile on, and then Brutus delivers the final blow. And Caesar's last words, "Et tu Brute," then falls Caesar.
Talk about powerful Brutus. It's like the ultimate betrayal, to be killed by someone he loved and trusted, someone he probably saw as a friend.
Yeah, it's a gut punch. It shatters his world. His whole understanding of loyalty collapses in that moment.
So after the deed is done, Brutus tries to explain himself to the crowd, saying they had to kill Caesar to set Rome free.
Damage control.
Right. And then Antony's servant shows up, all cautious, followed by Antony himself. What's his play here?
Antony's smart. He knows he can't just go in guns blazing. He pretends to be heartbroken and accepting. He even asks permission to speak at Caesar's funeral.
Sneaky.
He's playing the long game. He knows he can use that funeral to turn the people against the conspirators.
And Brutus falls for it.
Hook, line, and sinker Cassius is like, "Dude, are you sure about this?" But Brutus, the idealist, thinks he can control Antony. He lets him speak as long as he doesn't badmouth the conspirators.
Huge mistake.
You know it. As soon as the conspirators leave, Antony lets loose over Caesar's body. It's raw emotion, grief, rage, a vow to get revenge. He's not messing around.
And then comes the big showdown in the Forum 2 speeches that show the power of words to sway the masses.
This is where it gets good.
First up, Brutus. He tries to reason with the people. He says they had to kill Caesar because he was too ambitious a threat to their freedom. He's like, "Choose freedom, choose Rome, choose me."
And for a minute, it seems like he's winning them over.
But then Antony steps up, and the whole mood changes.
Antony is a master manipulator. He starts out all humble. "I'm not here to praise Caesar," he says. But then he slowly starts to dismantle Brutus's arguments. He reminds everyone of how Caesar refused the crown 3 times.
Casting doubt on the whole ambition thing.
Exactly. And that line, "But Brutus says he was ambitious." And Brutus is an honorable man. He repeats it over and over, each time dripping with more and more sarcasm.
Planting seeds of doubt.
Oh, yeah. And then he brings out the big guns. He unveils Caesar's body all bloody and stabbed up, pointing out each wound, describing how the conspirators betrayed him.
Talk about a visual aid.
The crowd goes nuts. They're heartbroken, enraged. They want revenge. And Antony just drops this line, "Now let it work, mischief. You're on the loose. Do your thing."
It's like he's unleashing a monster.
And then there's that horrifying scene with Cinna the poet. The mob so riled up by Antony's speech, they attack him just because he has the same name as one of the conspirators.
That's scary. It shows how quickly things can spiral out of control, the power of mob mentality.
Totally. By the end of Act 3, Rome is in chaos. The conspirators are public enemy number 1. And it's all thanks to Antony.
Wow, Act 3 is a roller coaster. Okay, so Act 4, shifting power dynamics and growing internal conflict. What happens next?
Act 4 picks up with the formation of the Second Triumvirate, Antony, Octavius, and Lepidus. And these guys, they are not messing around.
No idealism here.
None. They're cold-blooded pragmatists. They're making lists of people to execute, including Antony's own nephew.
Oh.
And Antony doesn't even see Lepidus as an equal. He's just a pawn to be used and discarded.
It's a whole different kind of ambition, isn't it? More ruthless, less about ideals.
Exactly. So while all this is going down, what's happening with Brutus and Cassius?
Well, things are getting tense between them. Brutus is waiting for Cassius, and he's worried about their friendship. He tells Lucilius, "Things just aren't right between us." And when Cassius arrives, it all blows up. They have this huge fight in Brutus's tent.
What are they fighting about? Money. Power.
It's deeper than that. Brutus accuses Cassius of taking bribes and not sending him the money he needs for his troops. Cassius is furious. He defends himself, saying he's doing everything for Rome, even if it means getting his hands dirty.
So their ideals are starting to clash with the realities of war.
Yeah, and with their friendship, too. And then right in the middle of this argument, Brutus drops a bombshell. He tells Cassius that Portia is dead.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she killed herself. She swallowed hot coals. It's heartbreaking, and it shows just how much pain this whole conspiracy has caused.
Yeah, Cassius is devastated. He feels awful for Brutus. And in that moment of shared grief, they reconcile. They put their
Yeah.
differences aside.
But the war is still looming. What are their plans for dealing with Antony and Octavius?
Cassius wants to play it safe. Wait for Antony and Octavius to come to them. Let them wear themselves out. But Brutus wants to attack now. He thinks they need to seize the initiative before their own support crumbles.
So they're divided again?
Yeah, and ultimately Brutus's plan wins out. But right before they march into battle, Brutus has this crazy experience. He sees Caesar's ghost.
No way.
Yeah, it's this chilling omen. It's like Caesar's spirit is still around, maybe looking for revenge. Brutus is shaken, but it also makes him even more determined to face his fate.
It's like he knows what's coming.
Okay, so Act 5, the tragic conclusion, the final showdown at Philippi.
The armies face off, and there's a lot of trash talk going back and forth between Antony and Brutus Octavius, and Cassius. Cassius is really nervous. He's seen bad omens, eagles replaced by ravens, but Brutus is ready to fight.
And he makes a move that changes everything. He sees what he thinks is a weakness in Octavius's lines, and he attacks.
Bold move.
It is. It works on his end, but it throws everything off for Cassius. He sees what he thinks is Titinius, his friend, being captured by the enemy.
No.
And he's devastated. He thinks all is lost. He tells his servant Pindarus to kill him. He'd rather die than be taken prisoner.
That's so sad.
The worst part is Titinius wasn't captured. It was a misunderstanding. He comes back to Cassius with news of Brutus's victory. And he finds Cassius dead. He's so heartbroken he kills himself too.
That's awful.
Yeah.
A chain of tragic mistakes.
But the battle rages on. Cato dies bravely fighting for Rome. And then there's Lucilius. He pretends to be Brutus to protect him. He's captured. But Antony is so impressed by his loyalty that he orders his men to treat him well.
So even in defeat, there are moments of honor.
But the end is near. Brutus knows he's lost. He asks his men to kill him, but they refuse. Finally, he convinces Trito to hold a sword while he runs onto it.
He chooses his own fate.
And his last words are haunting. Caesar, now be still. I killed you with less willingness than I kill myself. He's saying he killed Caesar out of duty, not hatred.
Wow. And then what about Antony? How does he react to Brutus's death?
Antony gives this amazing speech over Brutus's body. He calls him the noblest Roman of them all. He says Brutus was the only conspirator who acted for the good of Rome, not for himself.
So in the end, he recognizes Brutus's integrity.
He does. And Octavius orders Brutus to be given a proper burial. It's a final act of respect for a man who, even in his mistakes, was driven by his ideals.
So we've reached the end of our deep dive into Julius Caesar, guided by Axay and Dr. Rathod's insightful conversation. What are the big takeaways for you?
This play is timeless because it deals with these huge questions: ambition, honor, loyalty, the clash between personal feelings and political beliefs, and the idea that even good intentions can lead to terrible outcomes.
We see Caesar driven by ambition and ultimately brought down by it, Brutus struggling with his conscience and making choices that destroy him, and Antony using his cunning to reshape the world after Caesar's death.
It makes you think, was Brutus a hero who made a tragic mistake, or was he just naive?
That's the question, isn't it? Was he right to betray Caesar for the sake of Rome, or did he misunderstand how power really works?
The play doesn't give us easy answers. It makes us think about the choices we make, the forces that shape history, and the fact that even the best intentions can have unintended consequences.
It's a play that keeps you thinking long after the curtain falls. For those of you listening, if you want to explore these ideas further, you can check out some historical accounts of Caesar's life and death, or dive into the tons of critical essays that analyze Brutus's character and motivations.
It's a rabbit hole for sure.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep questioning the world around you.